There is a big problem in Labour. The former Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn, had policies that I absolutely adored. Now, these were not policies that he came up with on his Todd. These are policies that have been used globally in a number of different countries, and they have worked. When you actually properly fund a healthcare system, you get money back into the country. Experts and the NHS itself has stated, after all the research has been done, for every pound you put into the NHS, you'll get £2 to £3 back. So why are we still allowing outsourcing and privatisation? Something that in the past 12 months has skyrocketed. Corbyn fought for a lot of policies that I like. Unfortunately, as far as opposition goes, he was as effective as a wet blanket. He went up against Theresa May, and while in one general election he managed to grow Labour quite significantly, he didn't win. And that's important. He didn't win. And in the following years, when Boris Johnson took over, he should have been king of the castle. He should have been walking like Conor McGregor after he's done a fight, because Boris Johnson is an absolute buffoon. He has a track record of lying, of messing up, of not caring. Not even just him as a person. Him as a person is absolutely revolting. But when he became Prime Minister, one of the first things he should have been slated for, his previous role as Foreign Secretary, he lied, and then he doubled down on a lie. So Zaheera Ratcliffe is now serving her 5th year of a 4-year sentence in Iran because Boris Johnson lied. Should have been a cakewalk, but it wasn't. And in the 2019 election, Labour lost. They handed the keys to the kingdom to the most depraved, deplorable, inept band of crooks, thieves and charlatans that we've seen in politics in a very long time. Enter Keir Starmer. Now, Keir Starmer is more central than I would prefer. He has a shady past, and again, as I've said to other people, I have not actually found these shady writings on credible sites. So if you have one, that's a credible source, put it in the comment section, or send me a private message on Instagram, BamGibson30. And I'll go through it, because I do want to go through these things. But when Keir Starmer came in, I thought his legal background would be like putting a shark in the water with a cuttlefish. I don't know why cuttlefish came to my head, but that's what I thought. I thought he will steamroll Boris Johnson and the Conservatives. See, here's the thing. When you watch PMQs, I know most people don't watch PMQs, but when you do watch PMQs, you're going into it with an established bias. Now, for me, as a lefty, socialist, progressive, and all the rest of it, when Keir Starmer asks a question of Boris Johnson and Boris Johnson deflects, yeah, I cheer and I grandstand. See, this Boris didn't answer because he can't without lying. Okay. And then sometimes Keir Starmer will point out the fact that Boris didn't actually answer the question. But that's as far as it goes, because people who support Boris Johnson are not going in saying, oh, well, Boris didn't answer the question. They're going in and they're listening to Boris grandstand with his usual twaddle of best in the world beating system. I mean, for borders, we're in the 30s, so that's not world beating. The response to the pandemic has been absolutely dreadful. We have one of the highest death tolls in the world per capita, highest death tolls in Europe, economy worst hit than anyone in the G7, so we're very clearly not world beating. But they're listening to Boris grandstand and they're taking that as a win. So when you go into it objectively, it doesn't seem to make much difference, because while sometimes Keir Starmer is very good, Sometimes Keir Starmer will stick onto a particular topic. This isn't really doing much good. Case in point, 2 weeks ago now, ish, depending on when I put this one out. 2 weeks ago in PMQs, it was asked, Boris Johnson boasted again that during a SAGE meeting he was following the advice of the scientists. He was following the medical and scientific advice given to him, and everyone's pleased with what he's doing. Now this was a lie. I know, Boris Johnson, lying. Nothing is unusual there. Show me a speech of Boris Johnson, I'll show you where he lies. But Keir Starmer said, okay, well if that's the case, and you actually are doing what's being advised, release the minutes so we can see. I don't think anyone was actually expecting Johnson to release the minutes, but he did. Should have been over with. Should have been done there and then, because last week in PMQs, Starmer should have rolled in with the minutes and said the Prime Minister lied to Parliament. Now, we had it a few years ago where it's no one cares if politicians lie to the people, but politicians lying in Parliament is a different scenario. It's pretty much the us and them system. No one cares if it's us, but if it affects them, that's when they kick into gear. That's why so much money has gone into vaccines, because it doesn't just hit poor people. A bit like cholera. When it started killing the rich people took note and shit got done. But he didn't. Starmer didn't do that at all. Then last week I didn't do a video on PMQs because I didn't see the point. Starmer had a few questions about businesses. Now, yeah, that's important for businesses. But your job is to expose the leader of the opposition for what he is. And there has never been a more incompetent, fraudulent sack of human excrement in Parliament as Prime Minister than Boris fucking Johnson. We've not had that before. And Keir Starmer walked in and didn't say a thing about the minutes being released, proving that Johnson had lied and lied in Parliament. That's a big problem. That is a big, big problem. And that's just one case. Last year, the continual mismanagement of the response to the pandemic, the continual fuck-ups. In the very, very, very beginning, Test and Trace was handled by the NHS and it was doing well until it wasn't. Until the only thing the NHS had anything to do with it was just a shallow sticker, because it was all run by private companies. The PPE procurement scheme, absolute disaster, with companies that had no experience and had seemingly just set up overnight making this stuff, taking billions upon billions of taxpayers' money for things that we didn't get, causing hundreds, if not thousands, of NHS staff and care workers to die. Because we didn't have the PPE, because Boris Johnson gave it to his mates, not to the people who are qualified to make it. Keir Starmer went on a little bit about that last year, but he should have been doing so much more. Recently we've seen Starmer go on news shows or the BBC and places like that, and I understand why he's doing it, but here's the problem. Corbyn's success wasn't because he looks like somebody's granddad. Corbyn's success was because he resonated with the younger generations, with my generation and the ones that come after me. Most of them that come after me, I'm in my 30s now. Corbyn resonated with them because we've never had so much access to information. You can take that as a good thing or as a bad thing. I think it's fucking fantastic. But we can see that these policies work. And Corbyn reached people. Now, in my opinion, in 2019, why it went so badly wrong is because everything was so divided and Corbyn removed himself from Facebook. Now, I understand why. Facebook is a horrible, horrible company. I won't defend them at all. But that's where his voters were. And he went AWOL. Keir Starmer shouldn't be spending all the time he is on these TV interviews. He should be on social media. Sara Sultana is a fresh-faced MP. She got in 2019, and she's done more to reach people than Keir Starmer has. She only has 1 or 2 questions in Parliament, but she's using social media right. So why isn't Keir Starmer doing this? Boris Johnson is the most incompetent Prime Minister we've ever had, and the cabinet of MPs are the most deplorable we've seen, certainly in my lifetime. With Priti Patel recently coming out and saying that she doesn't support protests. Let's face it, a protest happens when the government fails its people. That should have been everywhere. And there are people who have put it everywhere. But Starmer hasn't. Labour has a problem. The left is very divided. Starmer just isn't helping. If you like the hoodie, you can get yours at tellrunner.tmail.com. They're eco-friendly. Every penny made goes to charity. Keep safe. I'll see you guys next time.